Well, he managed, he managed Ajax and to great success, of course. But they usually they're having a terrible year, by the way, this year. But they usually wrap up the league. They have a lot of young players. It's a young squad. They play a system that is ingrained there for years and years and years. They have all the ex-pros who have played there, the luminous stars that coach the youngsters. It's a brilliant, brilliant system. And he's come through with all of that, and he's ended up at Man United, and he's earned the right to be manager of Man United. But at the moment, I think the question marks have got to be around the signings of the players, the choice of signings, and what that club is. In my opinion, I think they've underestimated what a true Man United player should be. And I'm talking about not just a great technical footballer, but the right character, that kind of hunger in them that drove the team on. Steve Bruce, Roy Keane, Eric Cantona. You could name so many different characters. Gary Neville is a pundit now. All these players, characters. And I look at this team and I think to myself, Bruno Fernandes is the skipper. He don't strike me as that type of character. Great footballer, but not that type of character. And I look in that group and I'm wondering who that is. Now, Amrabat coming into the team. He's only played a couple of games.
Left back as well, yeah.
Maybe, Casemiro, I'd like to see a little bit more from him on that front. That's what that team needs to me. It's almost like, where's the heartbeat? Where's the boom, boom, boom of that team?
Alan, you will know, maybe you don't know, but the Manchester United fans never happy with me. They didn't like it when I said, not that I was disappointed that Bruno Fernandes had come Man United fan, but that his appointment, captain, but that his appointment as skipper underlined the fact that there was a lack of that leadership within the squad. I actually said the two people that probably would have gone ahead of him had only been at the club for 1 year. Casemiro, you mentioned, and Lisandro Martinez. For me, had they been at the club longer, maybe Bruno Fernandes wouldn't be the captain at this point in time. Look, I know a lot of United fans say, he is the player in many of our games who is driving us on, and he deserves to be the captain. And I would kind of agree with you that, but my kind of bigger point...
fabulous footballer.
Yeah, but my bigger point is along with yours. There needs to be more characters. There needs to be more people within that squad driving the team forward. The other point that I would want to ask you about, though, is about pressure on Erik ten Hag, whether he's to blame for these results right now, because he has been at the club now his second season, and you don't see a clear pattern of play going forward. You don't see a distinct style like many of the other big clubs in the Premier League.
Yeah, well, okay. The style can somewhat be put to bed if you've not got the right players that and he's been in charge of the signings, have got players coming in, to Anthony, to Mount, these players, Casemiro, all coming into the team. They're his players. There's nowhere to hide when they're your players. I've been there. I know that. So when one or two of those are failing, it's a massive, massive problem for you. Now, Rashford, I know there's a lot of moaning about him at the moment. They give him a bumper new contract. He's probably in the top 10 paid players in the country. Did he really deserve that contract? Had he done enough in that small period when he was very successful at the back end of last year? I don't know. These are only questions you can ask when you've got all the answers. You've been the political process of the transfers into Man United, the owners of Man United, everybody involved. Okay, it's a very complicated business. But what is definitely happening at the moment is on that pitch, there doesn't look like a solution of how the system that they're going to stick to and who are going to be the individuals, the 7 or 8 who play every week. Who is that 7 or 8 at Man United who are going to play every week? Yeah. And that's the difference that I see at Man City in particular, Arsenal and Liverpool at the moment, and you could add a few others actually into that. Aston Villa, West Ham, Newcastle are now getting into their stride with the new players that they've brought in. So it is a worry if you're a Man United fan, for sure.
Just on Marcus Rashford, who you mentioned there, he was playing fantastically well. He got himself a new deal. From a coaching perspective, when you watch him now, why isn't he producing what he was doing last season?
Well, I think a lot of that comes from confidence and form and everything else that that goals get you. You nick a goal here and there, and it sort of give him a. But the one thing about Rashford, he's never been a great defender of the side of the pitch. So whenever, and I've managed against him a couple of times, the fullback down that side of the pitch would get some joy. And I think that gets exploited by away teams a lot down his side. And then the answer to that at the moment for Ten Hag seems to be put him through the middle. And I'm less weak on the side. And the back four isn't great at the moment. So you can't now have a fullback raiding down that side of the pitch, down your right-hand side of the pitch. So, and then is he really a number 9? You know, so there are some question marks about him. But offensively, I still see the same player, in my opinion. I still think when he's got the ball, he's danger. And he gets it onto that right foot and he can smash it from anywhere. If not, he can take you down the left-hand side and put an okay cross in. Not perhaps a Trippier type cross, but an okay cross. So he is a problem offensively. He's a good enough player for Man United, for sure. They have to come up with a way of compensating for his probably non-defensive work. Yeah. Look, Barcelona managed to do when they had Iniesta, Messi, and God knows who else in their team. So it can be done, and he has to find a solution.